Built my shop stove either late last spring or early last summer. It's been sitting out under a tree, trying to get it moved into place. You're going to have to put a chimney in there above the second brace girt. You can see about the top of the ladder. Outside, I poured a foundation for the chimney to sit on. The bottom of it's got a taper that should sit in that hole. A steel cap on the end. Here's where the chimney's going to fit in. It comes out through the wall. And here's the base. See, it has this tapered end on it. It's going to sit in the groove in the concrete. So what I'm trying to do now is we're going to make a bracket that will bolt on the wall, not too far up there. And we'll bolt around this to hold it. So I got to get it stood up so I know where to drill the hole, which isn't going to be too easy because I can't get the shop truck back there with my 27-foot boom. So we're going to have to do this with a scissor lift and the backhoe. This is about 34-foot chimney. Bottom one is just going to have a narrow piece. I'll drill 2 holes in this and put leg screws into the girts on the building, and have 2 more holes here that are the width of the chimney pipe, and I'll just run a bolt from here up about as far as I think. Flat piece. This piece is wider than the reach, so I'll put a couple of nuts on the bottom of this and on the top so it's a little bit adjustable in case I make a mistake, and then the all thread will go clear through enough to be on the other side of the reach or chimney so that I can kind of bolt it in place if I make a mistake. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to drill these 2 holes to bolt to the wall. I'll have to put a piece of 3/4 or something in the back of this to allow for the ribs in the tin, and then I'll drill the 2 holes for the all thread for the side of the reach.
It got down below 10 last night, so it's a little crisp this morning. Marcel is supposed to come out and help Rob put his stovepipe up today, so maybe he can finally have fire in the shop.
Got the scissor lift in the shop. I can get it around the back. I'm extending the boom out as far as it'll go, which it'll reach about 27 feet. It should be enough to pick the chimney up. To add a piece of angle iron chained down to the scissor lift to hold it on, and that didn't figure that was quite stout enough, so I got a couple more pieces. I had some pieces of angle iron and chained them through the channel, which made it a little stouter, and then chained the reach to the side of the scissor lift and the channel and raised the scissor lift up, and it picked the reach up so we could set it in the concrete base. Chimney cap on it. I'm re-chaining it after I put the 2 pieces of angle iron in, chaining it down to the bed of the scissor lift. Marcel drilling the spacers. The problem we had picking it up was getting the reach squared up so that the stovepipe end was square, perpendicular to the side wall of the shop. See, we got it sitting there. Now we got to try and twist it somehow. It's pretty precarious up that high with that much weight leaning against the scissor lift. Luckily it has outriggers that stick out about 5 feet, which help to keep from tipping over. You can see we're about probably 4 feet or 5 feet off center right here. Trying to figure out now how to get the chimney moved over towards the edge of the building. Oh, it's going to have to go get the neighbor, but I could get around the back side with the backhoe and stretch it all the way out. Then I could get the bucket in behind the reach with the chain on it, pull it away from the scissor lift, and then very precariously start moving it over towards the edge of the building. Here we thought the propane engine was freezing up, so we were trying to figure out a way to hold the throttle. Later discovered that it was out of propane, so once we got propane, well, it started running right again. I gotta take the one off and hook to the...
Yeah, to that
sheet.
Yeah.
Right behind Nell, there's a big red binder in that milk crate.
Cheater bar in my truck. Does he need a cheater bar?
So close.
You didn't know this was going to be such a dangerous job when you signed up for it, did you?
Well, I knew it was going to be something. I just didn't realize this heavy of a flume. Heavy duty. It's awesome.
You look close, down about 2 feet up from the base of the reach there. You can see we chained the bottom through the scissor lift so it couldn't squirt out and hit the edge of the building if something happened. It was going to stay right there. Hold on that hook a little bit, would you? Here, the scissor lift is starting to sink in. It's a little bit damp, so we had to hook the hoist of the truck onto it. I'm putting the outrigger down for stability. Lift the edge of the scissor lift up, get some blocks underneath the wheels and the outriggers so that it would lean in more towards the building rather than being on the outside, trying to get it moved over just a little bit closer to the building.
Right there, you're barely past. But if you go back a little more, then you got room to slide back and forth. You want to be on this side to push forward?
I want to be on this side.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
And here we finally got the reach chimney tied out to the man left up in the air, and now we're trying to get the backhoe on the back side so the bucket can push the chimney over towards the wall.
Oh, you're hitting the rail, the guardrail.
Rail along today very much.
Okay. Okay, right there is better.
Well, I could curl the bucket. I was just wondering if it would be better to have it so that it had more of the bucket leaning against the tube or not.
You might have to readjust her.
There's the blocks we cut for the spacers.
Not yet.
Almost there.
We were spry in our 60s, but all of a sudden it seems like in our 70s we're not spry anymore.
We're having fun. Sure.
That bolt's not long enough. No.
Here we're trying to get the tie down for the stack hooked to the side of the building. To start out, I just drilled 7/16 holes and ended up with 1/2-inch bolts, so we had to re-drill them. Get new bolts, put them through the wall. Marcel got inside to tie them down. Okay, now probably have to have you come up here and might have to keep loosening this a little bit. I'm trying to go slow.
On the rail.
Okay, watch that one change. Might get too tight, you won't be able to turn it. Can you loosen that one chain I showed you?
No way. You're up against this rail right here. Yo, now you're off it. Raise it up just a little more.
Have that turn around the reach of the hammer and make it go off, it might come loose. Watch it when it starts getting tightening up and loosening some more.
Okay.
Is it still loose?
Yeah. Now it got tight again.
Huh?
It's tight again.
Okay, you're loose.
Goes more?
Yep. Keep going.
Can I go out some more?
Yeah. Up. More towards you now.
Whoa!
Well, let me swing it. How close are we?
We're touching it right now. Oh, right there. Up, touching.
Hold on just a little bit. This is no more of it.
You're against the bolt. Okay.
You pull the boat on there so that I can go past it.
Okay, go ahead.
Figure.
Go!
Okay. Oh.
Finally got the chimney in place, but it wasn't square with the ready bolt, so I had to get down on the bottom and try and get it twisted enough so that the ready bolt will come together and get those clamps on. I built it a little bit too tight. Wasn't figuring on having the twisted pipe and having to pull it over enough. I got to make the pipe perfectly square with the bolts in order for it to be close enough to hook on.
Yeah, it's twisted a little. Yeah, we're not gonna be able to the way it is. That took off some of the pressure.
That twisted it a little bit. That twisted it a little bit.
Took off some pressure. Oh, whoa,
Whoa, whoa! You went the wrong direction. Here we go.
Now you can get the chain loose before you tighten them down, because the tighter you tighten that, the tighter the chain gets.
Yeah.
Trying to get the chains up above loosen enough, and I twist pulling down on the bottom with the bar. Then it gets a couple bolts on it, so now we got to try and figure out how to get chain unhooked from the backhoe so we can get it off.
Head over there where the hook down and make a hand thumb down. You're on the bucket more, you suppose they were right there?
You might be able to, yeah. Whoa.
No. Whoa, whoa.
Hold on. Oh, right there.
I didn't think we were ever going to see this moment. We tacked them so we don't.
Wrong nuts.
Now I'm trying to make some brackets up higher to bolt it to. I got the drill bit stuck. Put some silicone behind it around the holes so they don't leak. Get them driven through. They're bolting to the girts on the inside of the building. I'm welding them onto the chimney pipe, and hopefully that'll hold it. I'll probably end up putting one more down below.
Rob's going up to caulk around the stovepipe.
They're not quite as big as they look. Reflection off the pipe.
Yay! And there's the damper. Smoke coming out the chimney.